Hey guys, and welcome to episode 13 of Creators Campfire. If you're new here, then this is a live stream podcast where I interview all sorts of creative people, so entrepreneurs, side hustlers, and general aspiring talent, to find out more about what they do, why they do it, and how they do it. For those that are joining us live tonight, if you have any questions for our guest at any point, please just drop them in the comments on whatever platform you're watching, and we will get to them as we go along. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. So tonight we have Charlotte Jessop joining us. Charlotte actually quit her job as a teacher a few years ago and went traveling with her family, which is kind of living the dream, if I'm honest. But on that journey, she started blogging about being frugal and making money, and also the eco-friendly side of things. So tonight we'll be finding out exactly how Charlotte's journey was, all the tips and tricks that she's learned on the way, and how you could do the same if that's what you want to do. So guys, please welcome Charlotte. Hey.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for being here. It's my pleasure. How are you?
Yes, I'm all right. I am warm because of the weather and the lighting, and the fact that I've shut all the windows so there's no external noise, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I had to shut the door and I am a little warm. But I live in my hoodie, so it's really, really weird for me to take my hoodie off.
You're making me feel hotter, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I have to say, I think it was Friday. I think Friday the hoodie actually came off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I know it's hot because the hoodie's actually come off. So
that's warm. That's it.
Yeah, that's how you know it's hot in this country. Anyway, so I've given a brief background, but you're probably in a much better position to give a background about yourself. Do you want to just give us a brief introduction about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm Charlotte. I was a teacher. I was a maths teacher. I did that for close to 10 years for my sins, and I enjoyed it when I started, and then I had some kids and I was like, it was not really my thing anymore. Like, it was taking up a lot of my time and it was difficult. And so kind of on the side, I started blogging. I've had sort of a couple of blogs over the years, and kind of this looking after your pennies was the one I sort of have taken most seriously. And yeah, that kind of, I don't know, it started off a dream of something a bit more exciting in my life. And we took that, I'm just adjusting my camera there. My husband and I decided that we didn't want to live life kind of, I don't know, just going to work and then seeing our kids in the evenings and things like that. So we actually decided that we wanted to go traveling with the hope that we would have more time as a family. And I guess it was a dream that we'd had kind of pre-kids and never got around to it. We were like buying houses and goodness knows what. So we were like, right, let's do it. Let's take the kids while they're little, while they're still, portable, and we'll go. So we did that, and that we set off in September. And the kind of my aim was to keep making money while we were going. So we did it on a budget. We didn't have loads of money to spend. And it was a case of, if the more money that we have, the more money that we make as we go in, the better. So I tried all sorts of different things. Obviously, I had my blog that was making me a bit of an income anyway. And then, I sort of branched out into other things as well. So one of those things was Fiverr, which I think is what we're going to talk more about today.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's really cool. So I don't know loads about Fiverr. I guess the very basics I know is that it's kind of a freelancing platform. So if you have something that you want to kind of get out and you want clients or whatever, that's kind of the place to be. But that's about the extent of my knowledge of it. So what else do we need to know?
Okay, yeah. So it's basically that in a nutshell. So I kind of came across the platform because I wanted to branch out into like freelance writing. So I'd been blogging for a while, so I knew how to write blog posts, and I kind of wanted to make a bit more money. And I spoke to other people that I knew were making good money in freelance writing, and said, where do I start? And they were like, Fiverr. And then I spent about a year not doing anything about that. And then
yep, I know that.
This is what I'm going to do. So yeah, it's basically, it's kind of like an ads pages, like an online ads pages for people that have freelance services to sell. And I say freelance services in kind of like the broadest sense, because you like anything from probably the things you'd expect, so like graphic design, web design, all sorts, right up to things like makeup tutorials. You can get like makeup coaching and celebrity impersonation gigs and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's broad. I mean, obviously there are some that make more money than others, but if you have a skill, if you have a service, then there is a market for it on Fiverr.
Ah, okay. And that's the one I know of, but are there, I assume there are competitors. Is that?
Yeah, there are. So there are others. So there's People Per Hour, there's Upwork, and there's one that I haven't looked into that much, which is one I think that's called 5Squid, which is kind of like the UK sort of exclusive version of that. But they're all sort of similar with different twists. So People Per Hour, rather than you charging for the service, you charge your hourly rate and then say how many hours it's going to take to do that job. So yes, it's sort of like the same thing, just formatted slightly differently so that they're not direct competition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely. So what made you choose Fiverr then?
It was the one that I'd heard most about. So when I was asking these questions around what platforms would be good for marketing my writing on, I just kept getting the same answer, and that was Fiverr. So I think it's probably was one of the originals, or at least the most successful version of that platform. And I guess that goes a lot in its favor, in the sense that if it's popular, then you have got a greater chance of reaching potential buyers.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So in terms of somebody who was looking to get onto it, how does the structure work? Because I assume they take some kind of cut somehow.
Yeah, they take 20%. So this is not like, I mean, some people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars, a week, some of them on this platform. But they do take money. So my personal strategy with Fiverr is to almost use it as a way to build up your kind of testimonials, your customer base. And then, although Fiverr would, hate me for saying this, but I don't work for them, so I can say it, is you want to try and then move your business off of that platform. So they have systems in place, and you can't easily get their customers off the platform. But I think once you have that, once you have those reviews and you have those comments from the people that you've worked with on Fiverr, then you have a portfolio of work that you can then take and you can start pitching to people off of that platform.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So would you kind of position it more than as someone starting out, perhaps?
Yeah, so I think that was how I started. But so what I did was you kind of have to just take the hit on the kind of 20% thing. But as you are, so when you first start, you sort of just have to go, right, okay, that happens. But as you become more successful on that platform, you can start pricing your services to compensate for that. So now I price my writing so that even after the 20%, I get a rate that I'm happy with. So
yeah, I guess you could. You just start somewhere.
It's up to you. Like, you can either stick around on the platform and factor in that cut, into your pricing structure, or you can look to move away from that platform and just keep everything.
Yeah. Well, okay, that makes sense. So you've said obviously that you can pretty much put anything on it. Is there certain things or certain types of people or certain types of work rather that you would say work better than others? So for example, a writer or a graphic designer, those more common ones that you would expect, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I can only sort of speak from my viewpoint of it, and I think I see a lot of people reach into that platform for like content creation or online business stuff. And I think a lot of that because it's typically priced at the more affordable end of the market. So you get lots of people that are sort of starting their own freelance business. So therefore it attracts other people that are starting their businesses, and it almost becomes like almost like a team effort. Like, I'll pay you to do my writing if you pay me like to do your
Yes,
notes. So I think you get a lot of startup businesses that reach out. So things that I've used it for were things like logo designs, like jingles for podcasts or other audio stuff. And I think that there is a lot of work there. But that said, I've spent a lot of time on TikTok this week, and and there are like 16-year-olds on there that are charging people, say, $5 or something, just to remove the background on an image, and they're making like a fortune doing that. So I think basically, if you can do something and you're prepared to do it at the right price, then there will be a market for that.
Yes. Okay. There's a comment that's come in that says time to get on Fiverr apparently, and I'm agreeing, Amy. I completely agree with you. It is time to get on Fiverr because
all the kids are doing it.
Right. But also, I guess that's such a great way to build experience. So for someone just starting out or not sure what they want to do, don't want to go like full swing into something, it's almost like it's like an internship, really. It's like, let me test the waters and see what I can do here.
Yeah, and this is what I say to people on my courses and that have read my book. I say things like, if you don't know if that is something that you want to do forever, like I didn't know if writing was the thing that I really wanted to do, but I sure as hell wanted to give it a go and see if it was. And that was a great way to, try that out, and also have that. I mean, I guess I'd always been kind of bottom of the employment food chain, if that makes sense. I work for my boss, but I never really had customers as such. So actually working in a situation where I was directly dealing with my customers was a sort of a new experience to me, and was one that I wanted to test before I took myself away from that and was working directly by reaching out through emails or on their website or something like that. So it's a great way to sort of just test what you want to do and if it's the right thing for you to do.
Yeah, so I guess that means literally anybody can jump on there if they can do anything at all, right? There's going to be a market. Someone's going to want something done.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. And this is the nature of education. You always have, everybody has something that they're better at than someone else, and they will pay you to do that thing.
Yeah.
So it's just a skills exchange, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So going back to your journey, I guess you started. So did you start it at the time that you went traveling? Is that kind of, they went hand in hand?
So the Fiverr side of things.
Yeah.
So Fiverr, I started, I think about a month to 6 weeks into our traveling. So I was in, I think I was in Colombia when I first created my profile. And I was like sitting in the it's the best internet I've ever had. And I was like, and so I completed my profile then, when the kids were sleeping. And and then it was probably about a week to 10 days after that I got my first customer.
Nice.
So that was good.
Okay, so I guess in terms of your, so you obviously started it from a writing point of view, right?
Yes.
So how do you position yourself? Is it just a case of going, I'm a writer and this is my previous work, or how does that kind of have to look like?
Yeah, so there are kind of two levels of, I guess two points where you can advertise yourself on Fiverr. So you have your profile, which is about you and your experiences in general, but there's meant to be a more kind of overarching sort of look at your skill set and experience. So I recommend that when people are creating that they keep it quite broad. So under the kind of writing headline, there are all sorts of genres and niches and things like that. So I try and keep my profile broad so it could cover other things like proofreading or ghostwriting, and all these other things that would fall under the heading of writing. And then what you have are your gigs, which are kind of like your ad cards, and they're a lot more niched down, and you're very specific in those about what it is you will do, and you can talk a bit about your experience in there. So I normally put a sentence or two around what I'm actually offering and what my experience is that backs that up, because I think a lot of people will when they search on Fiverr, the thing that they see is that gig. That's the first thing that comes up. So having something snappy at the start to say, I've been doing this for X number of years, or, I've worked with X number of customers on these sorts of projects. They will see that, and then if they want to verify that or back that up, then they look at your profile. But there are plenty of people that will just look at your gigs and then place an order. So yes, you kind of have those 2 points where you can advertise yourself. So the profile will be lengthier about you, but more generalized, if that makes sense. And then your gigs are very niched and what your experiences are on that particular topic.
Okay, so how does it, if someone places an order, then are you then obliged to fulfill that order, or is there some kind of back and forth of an agreement after that?
So typically the expectation is that once that order is placed, then you will fulfill that order. There are systems within Fiverr that allow you to cancel that, but your cancellation rate also shows up in your kind of statistics. So you don't want to do that much. But if you get the customer to cancel, then that doesn't count towards you. So there are kind of ways around that where you can get like, I can't give this job the attention it truly deserves, and you get the customer to do it for you so you don't have to. But I tend I have things like wording on my gigs that say, speak to me first, message me first about this, so that I can have that conversation. And I think in 95% of cases, people do reach out to me first because they want to know more about me, and I think they sometimes fishing for a bit of a deal. And they will reach out, and they just want that. I think the kind of communication is a big thing on Fiverr. So people want to know that you will respond to them, and you're a normal person. You're not just I don't know, like I say, like some kids sat on a computer in the dark somewhere, doing this work, trying to get some cash. So normally people contact me beforehand, but if they do just place the order, then I've always fulfilled them. So
I guess one of the reasons for, well, actually there were two reasons for asking. The first is, what if you've put your profile as something and someone places an order but has either misunderstood it, or you maybe weren't specific enough, and then you get an order that doesn't quite match what you could do or your skill set.
So in that case, then it's communication that is the key. So you have to just say, this is what I'm offering. So you can once they've placed that order, you can reiterate what it is. Right. So you're going, this is what we're going to be doing. Can you just confirm that that's okay with you? And then they will respond back to you, and you can then take it from there about what is and isn't going to happen, really.
And I guess as part of that, do you arrange deadlines then between yourselves based on the work, I guess?
So that's kind of arranged in advance. So you set on your gigs that how long it's going to take to deliver that. So I have my standard is, I'm sorry if you can hear my kid.
I don't think I can actually, but even if I could, it's absolutely fine.
She's thirsty, so she just wakes up and she's like, oh. But anyway, the husband's there, it's fine.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, we're not neglecting children, guys.
They're well looked after.
They're too well looked after.
This is just life as entrepreneurial mum. It's like
right.
But you set the delivery time in advance. So I have mine set at 3 days, because that means that then I don't ever have to work over a weekend. So it's always
wide.
that sort of bit of leeway. And yeah, so that's set in advance. If you need an extension, there are systems again on Fiverr, so you can reach out and say, look, to get this absolutely spot on for you, I'd need another day, and you can discuss that. And I've done that a couple of times, not necessarily through my own fault, but because a customer has gone, can you do another 200 words? And I'm like, yeah, but I want another day. So yeah. And I always, I don't know, I always try and reward myself for like that extra time, if that makes sense. So, if they say they want more, then rather than kind of jumping on it too quickly, I'm like, yeah, but it's going to take me longer. And then if I get it done in less time, so it's managing expectations essentially.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So actually that kind of brings me to another point then. So in terms of you doing work for someone, is there a back and forth? Are there drafts or anything like that? Or is it just, this is what I want, this is what I've done, okay?
Yeah, so again, you can set that. So Fiverr allows you to say how many revisions of that work you can get.
Right.
So you could set that as 0, which means that you send the work and then that's the end of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is the end of it, because a customer can still like ping it back and go, could you change it? And then it's kind of just down to your own personal policy. I tend to set it at 1 or 2 revisions, and that will cover it, because most people will just go, oh, can you add another bit here? And then you do that, and then it's done. And it creates a better customer experience if you give them the option of changing it. People like to know that they don't have to accept the first version of something that comes their way. So you can set that, but like sometimes if it's like a repeat customer and we're working on a big project, I will allow there to be some like more back and forth, like, can you tweet this, and I'll send it over and they'll send it back. So I guess like for me, and depends what you're doing, really depends what service it is you're offering. It might be more, I don't know, fit better for some services than it does for others to do that.
Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense, because I guess you're also creating that customer service, because what you don't want is, it is what it is, tough, especially if they then don't like
and
it.
And then you get the bad reviews, like you don't want that. Like, if they don't like it, it's like
it's not going to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you ever had it where somebody has either, I don't know how the payment system works. Is it upfront or afterwards? Do people not pay, or do they,
No, the money's taken by Fiverr at the time that they place the order. So you will never get a job that you won't get paid for. In terms of payment, you get paid 2 weeks after they accept the order. And if they, so you send it through, they then have 3 days to accept it, or it automatically accepts. And then it's exactly 2 weeks later that you get the payment. So there's never been an issue of non-payment.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is better, because like particularly when you're starting out, the kind of the daunting thing about maybe going freelance is having to send invoices and chase people up for money, and you just don't have to deal with that. You can just get your service and your customer service sorted, and then you can work on the money.
Yeah. It does take a whole load of hassle, and I guess that's what you're paying for with giving them the 20% cut, but that's where it's absolutely worth it, especially if you're starting out and you don't want to take that risk. It's like, that's fine, that I will pay that money to just get my foot in the door, get some experience, and understand how this whole world works.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a benefit to just having a platform that has all those systems built in. So
right,
that's what you pay the money for. So done.
Yes, and then you can focus on exactly what you want to focus on, which is the work rather than the admin.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I guess I don't know about you, but actually maybe this is a question for you. Is this something you do or have done at points full time, or is this just something supplementary?
No, so this was so it was very much like literally on the fly. I started, as we were traveling, and it really picked up in March. And I try and use the systems and the tools that I have, such as like my pricing and just things on there's tools on Fiverr so you can limit the number of orders that you get. But my favorite way to do it is to, if I'm getting too busy, I'll put my prices up, and that slows the flow of customers, and I still get paid the same. So it works out nicely. But yeah, so I only ever really wanted to do it part-time because I wanted to, I had, like my website and things like that I wanted to focus on. But yeah, like on my best month, I was earning close to £1,000.
Yeah, like if I could sign up right now, and it wouldn't be rude, I'd probably just, have...
No, I think we can wrap this up and just...
yeah. Thanks, Charlotte. This was great. No, that's cool. You've answered another one of my questions. Is if you kind of like it took off. If you have loads of things coming in and you obviously physically can't keep up, or you need to take a break or anything like that, you can make those changes in your profile or whatever, so you're not inundated.
Yeah, okay. And I always use my money. Like, always change your prices. Have that as one of your like your biggest tools for managing your workload. Because if you find yourself, and this is just general advice, I'm full of this. Just like go off.
I love it.
Turn into some sort of like guru of like proverbs and whatever.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. But no, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are too busy, it's because you're too cheap, and that's it. So put your prices up, and you will. Yes, you might get less customers, but you'll make the same amount of money. You'll have the people that want to work with you will still keep working with you, and they will value the work that you do. So yeah, when that happens, if I suddenly find myself overwhelmed with work, I put my prices up, and I've put my prices up, I don't know, 4 or 5 times on Fiverr now, and it's never stopped me getting work.
Brilliant. Do you put them back down, or do you just leave them up?
Nope, I just keep them up. What I sometimes do is I put them up, and then I will reach out to old customers and just say, just a heads up, I have put my prices up, but for the next 2 weeks or something, I will honor my old prices. And actually that can be a really good way of like drumming up some more business.
Yep.
And you are then just working with people that know you and they value you already. So yeah, I kind of use that to like put my prices up, and it can kind of take a while for the kind of new pricing structure to work, if that makes sense. You can almost sort of see like, you get really, really busy, and then you put your prices up, and there's a little dip before it starts picking back up again. So I use that technique of reaching out to my old customers to kind of plug that dip to keep my price is the same, and it makes them feel like they're getting some sort of special treatment from you.
Yeah, no, that's actually incredibly good advice.
This is great. Whatever you like.
Yeah, it was amazing. No, and Amy has also just said this is amazing advice. We're clearly on the same page tonight, Amy. So she says a thank you in there, Charlotte, for you. So I guess you've obviously mentioned like repeat customers a couple of times. So that, I guess, is a chance for you to build relationships and network and kind of, I guess, if you wanted to branch out on your own, build that. Do you find you prefer those repeat customers, or does it get repetitive or anything like that? Or do you prefer kind of totally different random projects?
I do prefer working with repeat customers, normally because the projects that they bring to you are just extensions of previous ones that you've done. So you know what you're working with. When you start working with someone new, you have to understand, because I mean, a lot of the work that I have done has been like blog posts for eco-friendly shops. So, people that are selling up reusable stuff and bamboo things. And so when someone first reaches out, you have to get to understand their brand, their ethos, their vision, and there's so many questions. But when you've already done that work and someone goes, "Oh, I need another one," and you're like, "Oh, right, yeah." And it's much quicker.
Yeah,
you don't have to go through that whole process, and they are more confident just sending you a message and going, oh, I need another one, Charlotte. And you're like,
Yeah.
right, no, I'll get cracking. And
Yeah.
that communication is already there. It's this, you kind of, the formalities kind of like drop off, and you can just do like emojis and stuff to respond instead.
Yes. Yeah, that does sound a lot better, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, like, I spell check every single word and bit of grammar because I'm a writer. You know, when I'm quite often like doing this on the phone while I'm like, you know, serving up my kids baked beans, and it's like, you know, it's just like, oh, please let this read correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think people mind so much if you're like a logo designer and you like misspell something. But if you're when you're selling your services as a writer, you have to get those initial communications pretty much spot on.
That's a good point. Yeah, you do. That's pretty key. How do you find the briefs that you're given?
Variable.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes people will give you like the whole history of their company and you know, why they were motivated to do it, and then a whole lot of other stuff that you didn't even need to know about. And then other people will, and these are normally the people that place an order without reaching out to me, and they'll just put because there's a system on Fiverr where you get to ask your kind of I can't remember what they call them now, but there's like a set of questions that they have to fill out, your requirements. So I get to determine what the questions are, and I've added to them as I've gone because there's been things that I wanted answered. And so they then have to fill those things in. But some people will be like majorly vague, and it's in those times that I will then, I mean, I always reach out when someone places an order anyway, just to say thank you. But if I get a particularly brief, then I will, what I normally try and do is interpret what they've said back to them, and then just go, can you confirm, you know, this is what you want? And then I'll get started on it. So you just get that clarification. And I think there's only been one time when someone didn't actually respond to my message, and I just had to wing it. And they put the right thing. I was like, okay, I'll just write. I would make a 5-star review, so I must have done something right.
Yeah, amazing. They clearly trusted you and didn't need to respond.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, just that woman looks like she knows what she's doing,
right? Yeah. Well, you do.
Yeah, I did it so well. I could read their minds based on the 6 words that they wrote down.
Love it. I want a blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Words, woman. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything? Well, obviously, I'm sure you've learned a lot along the way, but is there something in particular that you kind of wish you'd known right at the beginning on this journey?
Well, the thing I wish I'd done was start earlier. I seriously dragged my heels on doing it. But yeah, I think one of the things that I guess was game changing on the platform was this idea of niching down my gigs. So I could sell my services as I will write you a blog post, but it is like full of people offering that service. So in order to stand out amongst that crowd, what I started to do was niche down and say, I will write you an eco-friendly blog post, I will write you a frugal living blog post. Actually, what I'm doing is essentially the same. I can write a blog post about anything you like, but when I started kind of really fine-tuning what I was doing, then I came up on the top of the searches. And if you think about it, if you were, I don't know, if you were selling windows or something on your, like, I don't know, doors, windows, whatever, and you had a blog section on your company's website, you would try and find somebody that knew something about your business rather than just being a generic blog post writer. You'd want someone. So if you can write about, you know, doors and windows, I can write you a blog post about doors and windows in your gig description. And so that for me meant that I went from being, you know, number 300 and something on the blog posts page to actually being, I think I'm number 1 or number 2 for eco-friendly living blog posts. And that is something that people search for. So it made a huge difference for me to be seen on that.
Yeah. Yes, okay. Good tip. So so obviously Fiverr is international. Do you, I guess it being digital services, so international, I can't remember if I said it national, it's international, and being digital, you can go international. Does it restrict you in any way, or are your services therefore available internationally?
No, my services are, I have done blog posts, obviously people in the USA, in Australia, Dubai, like all over the world. And interestingly, because you can set like your language, so for something like writing, it kind of matters that you are able to, how you write. So for example, as a a British English speaker, the way I write is different to people who are writing American English. But I can change that. I can drop my U's in color and
yes,
and things like that. There's no issue to it. I just change the setting at the bottom of Word.
Yeah.
So some people then actually want, if they're not a native English speaker, they will reach out to me to write an article for their website in English. And so people do actually look for people based on where they're working from.
Yeah.
So I mean, for some services like logo design, it's not that much of an issue, but people do want people that are also in their time zone sometimes, so that they can communicate with them throughout their daytime. But yeah, like I say, I started off doing this when I was in Colombia. I did it all down through South America, Australia, and then through Asia and Europe, and it never was an issue with like communicating with people. So
yeah, amazing.
You can work around the world for anyone else around the world.
Yeah. So I guess when you do start niching down, you have a specific thing that you, and I guess I'm talking writing blog specifically. So in your instance, do you ever have it where they are so generic that you could be writing the same blog post almost again and again? And then do you have difficulty differentiating them? Or
so sometimes I do just get people going like, can you write me some blog posts about eco-friendly living? I'm like, I have used up like my good ideas on this topic, like without getting particularly very, very niche. I mean, I've written some very, very niche eco-friendly living topics as well. And so sometimes people will reach out and be like, I need to talk about this particular chemical and why it is bad. And it's like, okay, I'll Google that and then I will write that article. But sometimes people will just be like, can you write about like, I don't know, something to do with eco-friendly living? And you're like, okay, so I sort of have a bit of a mental bank of articles that I know I can write and kind of just change. So I'm not one of these people that will just hand them over the same article. But when you are niching down, there's not, and particularly something like eco-friendly living, I'm fairly sure every article on eco-friendly living has been written somewhere, probably by me. And so you do have a bit of a topic shortage, I guess. But I've never handed over the same article twice.
Okay. Yeah, I guess selfishly I'm thinking of my point of view, and if I started writing, I don't know, personal finance related stuff maybe, then how many times could you write the same budget article, I guess, on how to budget?
And that's the thing. And I think particularly if you are you're creating content for your own websites and your own pages as well. There is a point where you're like, God, I've already written this article and I've written it for me. And sometimes I'll write an article for someone else and be like, oh, I want that one. So you do have to, I mean, but some people just want that. Some people are literally looking to flesh out a website. They've made a new website and they just want to get a few articles up there to start off with, and you can just churn something out. But people do have I did a series of articles for someone, and this was a money one, and they were like, I want you to talk about investing in this thing and investing in that thing, and they were quite niche. I think they just didn't want to do the research themselves, but you can add things like research to your charges. So I tend to be like, if it's something I can write without thinking about it, then it's one price. But if it's a particularly niche, very kind of almost academic topic, then I will charge you extra for that work that I've got to do.
Yeah. Well, why not? It's going to take extra time, right?
Yeah, you'd be writing for an hour, and then you need to do an hour's worth of research beforehand just to be able to have enough content to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, writing specific question then. So if you're writing somebody a blog, when you put your blog up, I suppose. So you're writing the article, you send over in like a Word document with pictures and stuff, and they then do the uploading and stuff, or you are...
No, I don't do pictures. Okay. So I would just write, you can charge extra for images, and Fiverr themselves actually have a platform where you can access stock images. So if somebody requests like a paid for image, so they can do that. So I literally write the article. I'll put headings in. So I'll use the headings features on Word to
so
that people know where it is. And I literally just
send it.
There's a platform, and it's like, upload here, write them a nice thing about like, oh, I hope you love this. I love writing it and all of this.
Yeah.
And and send it over, and that's it.
Okay, because actually the thing I actually hate most about the blogging is not the blogging, it's the uploading to the site and the editing on the site that does my head in. I could write all day if I could.
And I have had people did some work for one customer, and they were like, can I just give you the login details for my website and you do the whole thing? And I was like, yes, but at a price.
Yes.
Because that's a whole load of extra work in terms of making sure that URL's right and uploading the images. And I was like that. Yeah, I don't mind doing it. I'll do it every day, but I will charge you for that because it's absolutely good work.
Yeah, and a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yes. Right. In terms of like you said, you're writing, but you have your own website and you have your own blog. Yeah. How does that work for you, and how do you differentiate it in terms of still having stuff to put on your own, but still writing? Because you obviously blog about the same things. So how does that work?
I guess, and like, this is not to sort of devalue the quality of the work that I'm selling on Fiverr, but the work I do for myself is better. Yeah. Typically, when I'm selling my writing on Fiverr, it is shorter articles. So the shortest one I write is 300 words. And I mean, I've written like 5,000 words for somebody where they wrote an ebook form before, but typically I'm writing about 500 words. And on my website, I tend to go for 1,000 to 2,000. So yes, there can be some element of overlap, but the articles I'm writing for myself are generally more thorough and well researched.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense though, because you're writing something that you specifically want to write about and means something to you, rather than being given a brief. So you're naturally going to get that.
I know my audience, and I know what content they want to see. So I am writing so much more informed when I'm writing for myself, rather than just a couple of sentences like I've had for somebody and they only want 500 words, because 500 words is like 5 subsections with like 80 words in each or something. Okay. So it's like they're very light and just kind of touching, barely scratching the surface on the actual topic itself. Whereas the ones I keep for me are answering all the questions that I know people want to know the answers to.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you, I guess this is a getting started question.
Yep.
How, and I'm not necessarily sure you had it, but some people might be, it's that whole imposter syndrome thing, right? So you could be starting out, you're totally new, and you could be like, okay, this sounds like the platform for me, I'm going to give it a try. But then how do you position yourself when you're like, well, I've never really done this before, but you don't want to sell yourself short and all those things going through your head. I don't know if you had something similar, but what advice might you have?
Yeah, and this is why I didn't do it for ages, because I was like, I'm not a writer. I mean, I've got a maths degree. Like, I literally did like 3 years of university with only having to write down sums. So like I didn't have to write. I mean, I did go back and do like a dissertation when I did education, but I have 0 qualifications in writing. So I was like sitting there thinking that everybody on there, they've got, like PhDs in English language and creative writing, and I'm just sitting here with 3 years of blogging experience and trying to flog that. But actually, there is a real sense of valuing what you know, and even if it's a hobby, even if you're new at it, like I was, I still had a value. Like, yes, I'd been at the point I started, I'd been blogging for, I think, 4.5 years. I had sort of 3 websites on the go. And yeah, so it was, I had that experience, and I'd almost had this, the proof was out there in the world. So I actually showcase some work from my own blogs as kind of like my portfolio on Fiverr, so that, I can use that experience that I have. And I think you just have to sit there and reflect, like, actually, you are more qualified probably for these things than you think you are. The fact that you are capable of even starting a blog and actually putting content out there on a semi-regular basis, means that you're in a position where you're capable to do those things. And even like, I always think, what honestly is the worst thing that could happen? Like, somebody places an order and then they hate it, and you go, oh, okay, well, this ain't the platform for me then. Like, you can walk away from that, and it's all done via usernames. They don't know what your name is. They don't know where you live. So ultimately, this isn't your brand that gets tarnished. It is your Fiverr profile at worst. So yeah, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, you can walk away and just draw a line underneath it and be like, well, that was fun. No, you can take it and go to people per hour or whatever. There's the actual risk that's involved is minimal, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's again very good advice.
I'm good.
Yeah, you are.
I kind of, it's my own advice. I've just copied it from books and stuff that I've read, but that
saves me reading that book. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay, a couple of questions coming in before I ask mine and finish up with the book. So okay, yes, I did think of this one and I forgot. So in terms of pricing, if someone's starting out, how do you kind of set yourself? And actually the other question that's kind of linked that was in my mind is, for someone starting out, how much research do they need to do into the platform and maybe their niche in order to start?
Yeah, so if I start with the pricing question, and then you'll probably need to remind me about the other one.
Okay.
And so yeah, the pricing, I always try on Fiverr. Like, I don't think I would recommend, this is one of the examples where I wouldn't recommend it off of Fiverr. But on Fiverr, I would price yourself as the second lowest price when you start off. So you do not want to be the lowest price. And this psychology works. This works in Tesco. You go into Tesco and you're looking at, ketchup. You're not going, oh, I'll get this. I don't know. They've all got fancy names now. It used to be Tesco value. you know, now it's like Molly's or, you know, Stockwell Farm or something.
Yeah, stop
but,
pretending we know it's you.
Yeah, you're still Tesco value.
Yeah,
Right. Aldi on it now. But yeah, so you know, you look at that and you're like, oh, that's a cheap one. That's not going to be great. But the next one up is probably the same product, but you sit and think it's got more value just because of how it's priced by comparison. And yeah, and that was something I kind of learned from years in retail when I was a teenager, that actually people would, they actually do this in shops. They put cheap versions of products out so that the second one up sells more. So and so you do the same. You do the same with your Fiverr pricing. You try and be not the lowest, you be the next one up. And then you look affordable, and you don't look cheap and inexperienced and unvaluable. And then you said something about niche and research and niche. Yes. Remember, it's like it's niche, it's working back. So I did a lot of research, and yes, I would say some level of research is good. I would say you want to try and look at the things that you do with your particular service and the niches that you want to look in, and then have a look for the people, have a look for when you do a search, have a look for the ones where there is one person at the top of that list that has sold loads, because that means that there's almost no competition. Like if somebody searches for that, there is market for it. Like people are, you know, the people are out there, they want it, but it's all going to this one person because everybody else is not, you know, not offering something, you know, they're not good enough. So if you can then step into that space and be just a bit cheaper than them, then you can get a share of whatever it is that they are offering. And then those are the niches that you want to hit first. So go for those ones where there is one person that's getting all the work. Price yourself, second lowest, or even if you get literally just like one person and nothing else, just go a bit under them, and people will take a shot on you because you're less, even if you've got like half of the reviews or no reviews.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. This is what I'm going to be like Fivering tonight. It's
good if you download this afterwards, you can like pause and
oh yeah, there's going to be notes and everything. I'm a nerd out.
I mean, you have a book about this.
Yes, I am getting to that. I've got one last question. Don't worry, we'll plug this because I'm a need it. I've got one last question before I get into that. Do you advertise your Fiverr work on your social, or where do you get your clients from, or do you just purely you know, put yourself up on the platform and take everything?
All of mine comes from the I mean, I might get some now, but I've never advertised my writing services within, you know, the communities that I'm in, you know, in the blogging world or any of that. Particularly when I started out, because I was suffering from imposter syndrome myself, and I didn't want to put myself out there. And I know what I was doing. I was like, no, don't find me. All of my work has come from strangers that have searched for me on the platform, because I have niche down and I've optimized my posts to be searchable, and people search for me and they find me.
Excellent. Okay, yes, the book. This is very important, people. So, right, this is amazing. If you were as intrigued and as amazed as I was, and I think, Amy, you definitely were, as me going through this interview, Charlotte has actually written a book. It's an ebook, and it is all about, well, it's pretty much everything we talked about and like so much more, because it will go into exactly how to approach Fiverr. And I'm going to shut up and let you explain, because you're a much better person at telling people about your own book.
So I wrote this book at the point when I had so many orders. I didn't even know how I had found the time to write the book, to be honest. But and so many orders on Fiverr, because I wanted, and it's still like that now. There's still so much work out there, and it is literally a step by step guide on how to get on the platform, how to set up your profile, how to set up your gigs, how to manage customers, how to deliver the work, literally all of the things that I had to learn on my own when I started. I have put them all in a book so that you can just read that. And it's on Amazon, so you can, and it's on Amazon Unlimited as well. So if you've got an unlimited membership, or if you want to trial that, you can get a free trial and get my book for free essentially. So it's on Amazon. You can just order it in there, and it will show you exactly what to do. And if that is not enough, if you are majorly suffering from imposter syndrome, I also have a course which comes with the book, but that guides you through how to know what to sell. So if you're struggling with, I don't think I have anything that people would pay for, it will help you go through the process of finding out what you should, how to market it, how to market your current, how to take your own experience and turn that into something that is marketable in relation to those gigs. So those are my 2 Fiverr based products. I'm sorry if I've overstepped the mark on the plugging situation there.
Not at all. You carry on. That's exactly what we've got you here for, and especially after you've given us so much value.
And I'm not done. There is more in the book. I haven't just spewed it all out.
I've got a million more questions, so that doesn't surprise me. So this is the website to go to. Can you get the book from here as well, or is Amazon the best?
That's where you can. There's a link in there to the book. There's a link in there to the course. It tells you a bit more about it as well if you still had questions.
Perfect. So guys, that's createyoursuccessstory.co.uk. All the information is there. Before I want to sneak in a rapid fire real quick. We might have to do a mini version. But before that, if you want to follow Charlotte on social, then she is looking after your pennies on Instagram. And I haven't written it out, but it's at Jessop Blogs on Twitter.
Yep.
Yes, excellent. And a website.
Also a mini TikTok sensation now, just putting that out there. So nice. You can get all my wonderful tips and advice on TikTok at Looking After Your Pennies. Amazing. Or check out lookingafteryourpennies.com, which I assume will have links to everything if you forget them. Yes.
As well as blogging about eco-friendly stuff and frugal living.
Yeah, all sorts of money stuff.
And I think we all need that. Awesome. Right, guys, I'm going to go to rapid fire, but if you have any last minute questions or comments, whack them in the comments box and I'll come back to them in a second.
I'm so nervous about this, by the way.
No, don't be. We'll do a mini version. People are really nervous, but I think I'm really quite nice. So honestly, it's nice. But then they tell me I'm on the other side, so of course it's nice. So I get it.
To be a teacher, there's nothing you can do that's going to really freak me out.
Yeah, okay. That's good. They're nice questions, I promise. Okay. What's the first word that comes into your mind right now?
Cheese.
I like cheese. Yeah, cheese is the best. I put it on everything.
Yeah, there is no food that isn't made better with cheese.
Right? Yeah. Yes, agreed. Funnily enough, what's your favourite pizza topping?
Oh, I don't know. Probably pepperoni.
It's a very common answer.
Yeah. Or maybe like barbecue chicken. That's also good.
Yeah. I'm a sad person. I'm literally just a cheese and tomato. I'm a margarita. Simple.
I mean, that is good, particularly if you go double cheese and you get the extra cheese.
Now I'm hungry and I've already had dinner. Okay. Yes, all right. Second dinners. Let's do them. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know, flying, because then I could just go places for cheap.
Yeah. Okay. What TV show are you binge watching right now?
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm nearly done. I've been through 12 seasons in like 3 months or something.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's binge watching, and particularly when you consider I've written eBooks and stuff as well.
I was going to say, I almost said, do you even have time for TV? But you are clearly
when I watch TV, I watch all the TV.
Yeah. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
One person, dead or alive, you'd like to have dinner with?
I
Good answer.
I'd be really soppy and just say like my grandparents or something like that. That would be, like, yeah, that'd be nice. To be for anybody at the moment, because like I ain't been out.
No, not allowed.
I'll just say like my mum, could she come out? That's what
Fine, we'll let them around.
wear a mask and sit 2 meters away.
Yeah, and don't touch anything.
Surface.
Yeah. What's the top thing on your bucket list?
Oh, I would love. I really want to take my kids snorkeling, like proper snorkeling with like turtles and all of that, because we wanted to do that when we were traveling, and then COVID. So yeah, we thought we missed out on that experience. So that would be like dream. That and like a big house in Australia with a swimming pool. But yeah, that's a different dream. It's not a bucket list.
Yeah, that's going to happen one day. They're both going to happen one day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, really quickly. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Nice. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Oh, and iOS or Android?
Oh, iOS.
Excellent. Lovely. See, that wasn't so hard.
No, but like I did say cheese as the first thing.
Look,
I think that's for the rest of the questions, to be honest.
Look, we all love cheese, and if we don't, we should.
Yeah.
Except every time I'm like cheese on everything
or something. So yeah, so like I love cheese.
Cheese is the best. Absolutely.
Yeah, my best mate didn't like cheese, and I was like, I'm this genuinely questioning our friendship.
Yeah, everything.
She likes it now, and I'm like, I hope you did that for me.
Yeah. Prove that friendship. Okay, this has been amazing. I've had like so much fun and learned an insane amount of stuff. This has been
but it's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think I'm really red-faced, but you know, we'll take one. Yeah, I know. We'll let you go and cool
Thank
down.
you for having me.
No, thank you so much for being here. So guys, remember, check out the book, check out the website, check out the gram and the TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's all about TikTok. I don't dance, by the way. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's absolutely fine.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been
no worries. Fun. Awesome. Right, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the questions, the comments, and I will see you all next week, same time, same place, with different guests. Bye, guys.